Right, hello students and welcome to China. We're going to talk about a couple of the ways that the Chinese people live and why they do what they do and some of their habits and customs. And yes, most of this information will be in the test, so pay attention. Okay, first of all, let's talk about population. Okay, China is 1.3 billion people big. That's a great big number. Let's get just an idea of just how big that is. Okay, that's a lot of people. That's like a million plus a third of that. So it's, well, 13 billion people. And that's interesting because let's think about Australia. Australia's got 20 million, actually about 24 million, which is almost the same size as the amount of people in the capital city of China, which is Beijing. So the idea is, or rather something to remember, is basically all of Australia, all the people in Australia fits into their capital city. There are so many Chinese in China. In fact, one person in every 5 people on the planet Earth is Chinese. 1 in 5. Okay, let's talk about Chinese family. Okay, guys, family is very important for most Chinese people. In fact, often grandparents will live near their families or with their families. Generally, people in China have great respect for older people and their ancestors. And yeah, we have respect for elders in Australia as well, but look, arguably, they might do it better in China. I mean, have a think about it. How many families do you know actually live with their grandparents in the same house? It's certainly much more of a Chinese trait than it is an Australian trait. Okay, something else worth mentioning that's very different in your typical Chinese family is the one-child policy. Now, Chinese families living in urban areas, city areas, since about 1978, the rule has generally been that they're only allowed to have one child, and if they have more, they're penalised for this. It's been difficult because many families usually want a boy because boys seem to be more revered in the Chinese culture. For good or for ill, almost definitely for ill, and it has been difficult for many families there. But you'll notice that many families in China just have one child because that's the rule in the city areas of China. Okay, now the one-child policy is a very serious policy that's caused a lot of upset over time in China, and it comes about basically because China's got a very different government to us. We'll talk about that a little bit more later, but basically the government was trying to control population growth. The government worried that China's getting too big and full of too many people, so the one-child policy was a way of just keeping the population from growing, and it has worked. There's no doubt about that. China's population growth has slowed, but it's still enormous. Right, let's look at schools in China. Okay, so they start at age 6 in China and they go to age 15, which equals 9 years of education. Are you ready for it? Here's the most shocking thing. Okay, in China, your average student goes to school on Saturday, and that's a regular deal. They get one day off, and it's Sunday, and boy, do they enjoy it. I think you would all have a heart attack if you had to come to school on Saturday every day of the year. My goodness, imagine that, 6 days a year. So just to be very clear about that, they come to school on Saturday. It's just another school day for them. Right, it's also very competitive to get into university. So at age 15, kids have got to go through special state school testing, and only the very best and brightest and the children who have worked hardest get to go to the Chinese universities. It's much harder to get into university in China than it is, say, in Australia. It's also worth noting that after school, they might play some sports or do extra tutoring, just like you. Some of you do as well. They work the students hard in China, there's no doubt about it. Okay, let's chat very briefly about city life in China and cities, and this will be the last topic for this video. Okay, 1/3 of all Chinese live in cities in China, and that's an enormous amount of people when you're talking about 1.3 billion. That's 1/3 of 1.3 billion people. That's a lot. And they mostly live in cities because, well, that's where the work is, and where the work is where the money is. And when you can get the money, you can buy the food. So it's often a blessing to be living in the city. The people in the country of China are usually doing it a bit tougher than those in the cities, but those cities are jam-packed. Okay, more work in the city, more money to be made in the city. Okay, the largest cities in China are Beijing, which is the capital of China. That's where they had the Olympics, in Beijing. Shanghai and Tianjin. And the very busy modern cities, there's lots of skyscraper buildings there that contain offices, homes, shops and restaurants. Okay guys, thanks for listening. Today we covered population, family, schools and cities. Fantastic. Looking forward to the next video. Talk to you later.